Hey everyone, I just want to take a moment to say a huge thank you to all of you who have subscribed. We've officially hit 40 subscribers. It's so exciting to see this community growing, and it means the world to me that you've decided to join this journey. But here's something surprising. Only 3% of my views have come from subscribers. That means a lot of you watching right now haven't hit that subscribe button yet. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button, click subscribe, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. Now, let's talk about our last comment section game. The number I was thinking of between 1 and 100 was 37, and a huge shout out to @JamaicaTechChaos9972 for guessing it right. Thank you so much for being such a loyal subscriber. Of course, we're going to play the guessing game again. I'm thinking of a new number between 1 and 100. Leave your guess in the comments below. If you get it right, I'll pin your comment and give you a shout out in the next video. Alright, without further ado, let's get right into the video. It was supposed to be a quiet summer for the residents of Crestwood, a small suburban town in Maine. The kind of place where nothing much ever happened, until people started disappearing. First, it was a teenage girl found in her bedroom with a smile carved into her face. Then, a young couple who went out for an evening walk and never came back. The town was on edge. Rumors began swirling, especially among the teenagers. One name kept coming up, whispered with fear and fascination: Jeff the Killer. The story of Jeff was well known online, a twisted tale passed around on forums and in creepy YouTube videos. But in Crestwood, it felt disturbingly real. The legend claimed Jeff had been a normal boy once, until an incident with bullies changed him forever. After being badly burned, Jeff's sanity cracked. One night, he carved a permanent smile into his face and burned off his eyelids to stay awake. His family was found murdered in their home, and Jeff disappeared into the night, leaving behind a trail of cryptic messages. Go to sleep. This summer, 5 friends had planned to make the most of their last vacation before heading off to college. Mia, Ryan, Alex, Dana, and Ethan. They'd grown up in Crestwood, and the rumors about Jeff were nothing more than a campfire story to them. I bet it's just some creep trying to scare people, Ethan said as they gathered at Alex's house one night. You think someone's actually out there carving smiles into people's faces? Dana added with a nervous laugh. Mia wasn't so sure. People are dead, Dana. You can't fake that. Ryan, ever the skeptic, shrugged. Dead people don't prove Jeff's real. It could be anyone. But Mia couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. That night, as the group walked home together, she thought she saw someone watching them from the shadows. The group decided to hang out at the old park on the outskirts of Crestwood the next evening. It was their usual spot, secluded enough that they wouldn't be bothered by anyone. They brought snacks, a Bluetooth speaker, and plenty of stories to share. By midnight, the group had settled into an easy rhythm of laughter and jokes, the eerie rumors about Jeff momentarily forgotten. That's when Mia heard it, a faint rustling in the trees. Did you hear that? She asked, sitting up straight. Hear what? Ryan asked, already sounding annoyed. Something in the woods, Mia insisted. Ethan rolled his eyes. It's probably a raccoon or something. But then Dana gasped, pointing toward the tree line. Guys, there's someone there. All heads turned to where she was pointing. For a moment, no one saw anything, and then movement. A figure emerged from the darkness, stepping just close enough to the light of the fire for them to make out the pale, grinning face. The smile stretched impossibly wide, and the figure's eyes gleamed, reflecting the firelight. Mia's blood ran cold. No, that can't be. Jeff, Alex whispered, his voice barely audible. Before anyone could react, the figure darted back into the woods, moving with unnatural speed. We need to get out of here, Mia shouted, grabbing her bag. Wait, we don't even know what that was, Ryan argued, though his voice shook with fear. You want to stick around and find out? Dana snapped, already running toward the trail that led back to the main road. The group scrambled to pack up and follow her. The woods were eerily quiet now, as if even the insects were holding their breath. As they hurried through the trees, Alex tripped over a root and fell hard. Ow! Wait! I think I twisted my ankle. Come on! Ethan yelled, doubling back to help him up. That's when they heard the laugh. It was low at first, barely audible, but it grew louder, echoing around them. A chill ran down Mia's spine. It wasn't a human laugh, it was guttural, like an animal trying to mimic laughter. Run! She screamed. They broke into a sprint, but the laughter followed them, growing louder and closer with every step. They reached the edge of the woods, panting and terrified, only to realize Alex wasn't with them. Where's Alex? Dana asked, her voice trembling. Ethan looked around, wide-eyed. He was right behind me. I swear he was right behind me. Alex! Mia shouted into the darkness. No response. Ryan pulled out his phone and turned on the flashlight, shining it toward the woods. We have to go back for him. No, we don't, Dana snapped. You saw what that thing was. If we go back in there, we're dead too. But Mia couldn't leave Alex behind. Against her better judgment, she grabbed Ryan's arm. We're going. Stay here if you want. The two of them ventured back into the woods, calling Alex's name. They didn't have to go far. They found him lying at the base of a tree, his face turned away from them. Alex! Mia ran to him, kneeling down to check for a pulse. But as she touched his shoulder, his body slumped forward, revealing his face. His lips were stretched into an unnatural grin, blood dripping from the corners. His eyes stared blankly ahead, lifeless. Carved into his forehead were the words, "Go to sleep." Mia screamed, stumbling back. Ryan grabbed her arm and pulled her away. "We have to go!" he yelled. The laughter returned, louder than before, and this time it was accompanied by the sound of footsteps crashing through the underbrush. Mia and Ryan sprinted back to where Dana and Ethan waited, their faces pale and filled with dread. He's dead, Mia sobbed, her breath catching in her throat. Dana's hands flew to her mouth. No, this can't be happening. Ethan paced frantically, his eyes darting toward the woods. We need to get to the road. Call the cops or something. I tried calling already, Ryan muttered, holding up his phone. No signal out here. We can't just stay here, Mia snapped. We're sitting ducks. Reluctantly, the group decided to stick together and make their way back to the main road, using the trail they had originally taken to the park. But the forest seemed different now, darker and more oppressive, as if the trees themselves were closing in around them. The laughter followed them, coming from every direction, impossible to pinpoint. They'd been walking for what felt like hours when Ethan froze in his tracks. Did you hear that? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. Everyone stopped, listening. At first, there was nothing but the sound of their own ragged breathing. Then, a low growl echoed through the woods. What the hell was that? Dana hissed. Before anyone could answer, something lunged out of the shadows and grabbed Ethan, dragging him into the underbrush. Ethan! Ryan yelled, running after him. Don't! Mia screamed, grabbing his arm to stop him. Ethan's screams pierced the night, and then there was silence. Dana collapsed to her knees, sobbing. This isn't real. This can't be real. Ryan shook his head, his hands trembling. We can't stay here. We have to keep moving. No, Mia said firmly, wiping her tears. We're going to find him. Ryan gave her a desperate look. Mia, he's gone. You know he's gone. But Mia refused to believe it. She pushed ahead, forcing the others to follow her. They found Ethan near a clearing, lying face down in the dirt. His hands were clawed into the ground as if he'd tried to fight back. When they turned him over, it was the same gruesome sight. The twisted smile, the empty, lifeless eyes, and the same haunting message carved into his chest. Go to sleep. Dana let out a blood-curdling scream and backed away, shaking her head. I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. We're going to die, Ryan muttered, his voice hollow. We're all going to die. No, Mia snapped, grabbing his shoulders. We are not giving up. We're going to survive this. Do you hear me? But deep down, she wasn't sure she believed her own words. The group continued their desperate trek through the woods. their flashlights casting eerie shadows that danced across the trees. The laughter seemed to grow louder with every step, almost as if it was mocking them. And then they saw him. Jeff. He stood in the middle of the trail, his head tilted slightly to the side, his ever-present grin glowing in the pale moonlight. His sunken, lidless eyes seemed to bore straight into their souls. "You've been running for a long time," he said, his voice soft and unsettling. "But you can't run forever." Dana screamed and bolted in the opposite direction, disappearing into the trees. "No, Dana," Mia yelled, but it was too late. Jeff chuckled, taking a step closer. "It's more fun when they split up." He lunged forward, and Ryan pushed Mia behind him. "Run!" he shouted. Mia hesitated for a split second before turning and running as fast as she could, tears streaming down her face. Mia ran blindly through the forest, the sound of Jeff's eerie laughter echoing behind her. Branches whipped against her face, and roots threatened to trip her with every step, but she didn't dare slow down. The forest seemed endless, stretching on in every direction with no sign of an escape. She finally stopped to catch her breath, leaning against a tree and listening intently. The laughter had faded, replaced by the deafening silence of the woods. "Ryan," she whispered, choking back a sob. "Dana." Then she heard it, a faint rustling behind her. Her breath hitched as she slowly turned, expecting to see that ghastly grin. Instead, it was Dana stumbling through the trees with tears streaming down her face. "Dana!" Mia ran to her, pulling her into a tight hug. "He's everywhere," Dana sobbed. I can't escape him." Mia grabbed her shoulders, trying to steady her. "Listen to me. We can get out of this, but we have to stick together. No more running off." Dana nodded shakily, and the two of them started moving cautiously through the woods, whispering reassurances to each other. But then they found Ryan. He was slumped against a tree, his breathing ragged, blood soaking through his shirt from a deep gash across his stomach. "Ryan!" Mia cried, rushing to his side. "Don't stop," he muttered, his voice weak. "Just go. He's playing with us." "We're not leaving you," Dana insisted, her hands trembling as she tried to press against the wound. Ryan grabbed Mia's wrist, his eyes filled with pain and urgency. "He'll come back for me. Use the time to run, please." Mia shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "No, we're going to get you out of here. Just hold on." But Ryan's grip tightened. "You can't save me, Mia. Go, now." Before Mia could argue further, they heard the laughter again, closer this time. Ryan pushed her away with all the strength he could muster. "Run!" Mia hesitated, torn between staying and following his desperate plea. But when Dana grabbed her arm and yanked her to her feet, the decision was made for her. As they ran, they heard Ryan's pained screams echo through the forest, followed by the chilling sound of Jeff's voice. "Go to sleep." Mia and Dana didn't stop running until they saw it, a faint glimmer of light in the distance. "The road!" Dana gasped, her voice breaking with relief. They pushed forward, hope driving them now. But as they got closer, a shadow stepped into their path. Jeff. "Leaving so soon?" he asked, his grin stretching even wider. Dana froze, paralyzed with fear. Mia, on the other hand, felt a surge of adrenaline. She grabbed a large branch from the ground and swung it at him with all her strength. Jeff dodged effortlessly, his movements almost inhuman. "Feisty," he said, laughing. "Run, Dana!" Mia screamed, swinging the branch again to keep him distracted. Dana hesitated for a moment before obeying, tears streaming down her face as she sprinted toward the road. Jeff's attention snapped back to Mia. "That was a mistake," he said, his voice dripping with malice. He lunged at her, but Mia managed to duck and sprint in the opposite direction. She zigzagged through the trees, her heart pounding in her chest. She could hear him behind her, his footsteps unnaturally fast, the sound of his laughter chilling her to the bone. Just as Mia felt her strength giving out, she saw headlights in the distance. A car was coming down the road. Summoning every ounce of energy she had left, she burst out of the woods and into the path of the car, waving her arms frantically. The vehicle screeched to a halt, and the driver, a middle-aged man, jumped out. "What the hell are you doing?" he yelled. Help me! Mia screamed, collapsing to her knees. Please, he's coming! The man looked toward the woods, confusion and concern etched on his face. Who's coming? But when he saw the figure emerge from the shadows, his expression changed to one of sheer terror. Get in the car, he said, his voice trembling. Mia didn't need to be told twice. She scrambled into the passenger seat as the man jumped back into the driver's seat and floored it. Jeff stood in the middle of the road, watching them drive away, his grin never faltering. Mia never saw Dana again. She spent weeks in the hospital recovering from the physical and emotional trauma, but no one believed her story. The police conducted a search of the woods and found nothing. No bodies, no evidence of a killer. It was as if Jeff had never been there. The town of Crestwood moved on, the disappearances chalked up to wild animals or runaway teens. But Mia knew the truth. Every night she locked her doors and windows, her heart racing at every creak or shadow. And every night she heard his voice in her dreams. Go to sleep.